Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while. So, been a little bit of a dry spell with projects lately, so we've been 3-4 months since I posted a video, which is way too long, but that gave me some time to, find a nice project and, upgrade the audio video equipment so that I can actually see and you can see what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and hopefully it all turns out. But we got a little present from the John Deere Fairy, and there it is. Look at that, it's a Home Depot special. Oh yeah, in all of its glory. So Deere pumped a whole bunch of these things out in the since the 2000s to now. I mean, I think the newer ones are a little bit better, but yeah, this is like 08, 9, 10, somewhere around in there. And they are just not a fan. This is my first one that I've actually owned. All the other John Deeres I've owned have been quote-unquote good John Deeres. Not the stuff that comes out of that Tennessee plant like this. Now, some people ask, they're not real John Deeres. They are real John Deeres. They just come out of a different plant, and they are built to a far lower quality standard to meet a price point to compete with, the MTD, Craftsman, American Yard Products crap, so that they can, like you said, compete, and it shows on the quality. It's kind of funny here, so what we got here: with engines manufactured exclusively for John Deere. Wow, that is exclusive, because they took a Briggs motor and put some exclusive green plastic on it and an exclusive sticker. Other than that, it looks like your standard Intech 19.5 horsepower POS. I mean, they do what they need to do, but I'm not really in love with those engines. So this thing does run. It does. It runs okay. It was stuttering on me a little bit, and then I ran it a little bit more, and it was doing what it needed to do. I don't know if we'll have to probably go through the carb or not. Most likely. I do know it needs new spindles on the deck, so I've got some of those ordered, and it is without belt. There is no belt. Can you see that there's no belt? So, I don't know how bad they sound, but with the amount of play that they have, probably awful. Let's see if I can reach up under here. You hear that? Now you can't see it, but that's the play in just the spindle shaft. So quite a bit. I imagine it sounds awful. It does move and drive and start though, and the other thing that we have to look at is a brake adjustment. It will slow down, but it will not stop, and forget using it as a park brake. Looks like one of the wheels here was changed at some point, so that'll definitely need a shot of a little bit of John Deere yellow. We got plenty of that up in here. And we're gonna do some painting. Probably take this pan off. It'll just need a good cleaning, is really what it comes down to. See if we can get this to the point where somebody would actually want to use it and buy it, which I think we could do. It was on the verge of probably going to scrap, but I think we can bring it back. I'm not too worried about it. I don't think we'll find any crazy surprises. It had a good battery in it. Let's see here. It's not too old. I think we can work with that. I mean, it's a Magnum power. It should last for the rest of my life. Maybe my kids' lives, I don't know. So, I think we're good here. I thought this was amazing. I don't think I've actually seen one of these. I know that they did, but I didn't know somebody actually around here would go out to a John Deere dealer and buy one of these things. You know, just make it convenient, man. Go to your local Lowe's, go to a Home Depot. That's what you got to do with those things. I mean, how could you go into a John Deere dealer where you're going to see nice X3s, 5s, 700 series tractors and be like, nope, that's the one. Got to have that LA105. You know, you don't want a real one like this. Except this would have been back in, this is a 1983 model. We might make a video of this one at some point. This was gone through completely. We could go through some of the specifics of what I did, how I did it, what to look out for. You know, these are probably one of the best John Deere's made. But I've also got this right here. So this is the new power washer I picked up, and I was a little reserved on getting it. I know it's a prosumer model, you know, high-end consumer, light-duty professional, but you know, is that 4,000 psi? I'm like, is that going to be a little bit too much for the stuff that I do? I mean, I'm not cleaning the sides of houses and crap, but it does have variable psi, so I can use that knob. I can turn this down. I think it goes down to like 1,500 psi, so there's a pretty wide range there for you know, to make sure you don't damage it if you're using it on like wood or something soft, some kind of plastic or vinyl or anything up close. So that should work out. We'll definitely get to test it because that is one dirty mower out there. So I've got some of these parts on order, and through the magic of video, we will definitely see what can be done to hopefully make this a nice before and after, because God knows that we need to keep all of these Home Depot specials out and alive. They're very near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure they are to you as well. So let's get to it. Alright, so got this cleaned up pretty well, at least for the purposes of what we're trying to do here. So the next thing we're gonna get going is removing this deck. So I don't know if we can see under here very well, but we have one piece right here that is a cotter pin, and then we have this right here and this right here. We're going to have the same on the other side. This is going to be a little bit easier because we don't have a belt, but you know, shouldn't be that big of a deal. Should be pretty straightforward to get off. So I'm going to work on pulling these cotter pins and getting this thing off of here real quick. We have the deck removed here, and I think my game plan, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to remove these pulley shroud covers. Whoever had this at one time appears to have gone a little crazy with the John Deere yellow, trying to beautify this thing up without, you know, taking the time to tape anything off or remove anything that wasn't supposed to be painted. So I think I'm going to remove those and either try to get that paint off or just repaint them black and scrape off any more of that loose yellow paint. Then we're going to go ahead and get those spindles removed because we know that they're bad. they're definitely not good. So we'll get those removed. And, you know, see about moving on from there. Once the new spindles should be here within any day, so that we can get those on there. And we do already have the belt, so once we kind of get this cleaned up and organized, we should be good to go. So let's just get these covers off of here. Okay. That wasn't too bad. This one was missing a bolt. It was rubbing through the plastic guard there, but see these brakes for the pulleys here. Huh. That noise we had. Actually, not from the spindles. The spindles are loose in there, so I might be able to just tighten those back up to the deck and see if you can get them greased. Take out that small amount of play, but they do not actually sound rollerblady. So that amount of play that we were feeling earlier was actually just the spindles being mounted to the deck. I don't know if there's just been enough rust to where some of the metal's eaten away. Those bolts can be tightened up, but we might have a little bit of fragility in the actual integrity of the deck, or if maybe somehow they backed off over time. I would be inclined, I'd find it hard to believe that they backed off over time, just because these are put into an unthreaded aluminum alloy in that spindle. So the fact that they would back out of that seems a little bit bizarre. Possibly the bolts have stretched. I'm not really sure, but let's take the pulleys off of these spindles and take a little bit closer look. Maybe we'll see if we can actually tighten them up and get away without having to replace these. So let's take a look here. Okay, so we've got one of these off, and yeah, for sure we can see that play was actually just, these just aren't tight up against the deck. Very interesting. Let's pop this one off here. 22 millimeter. Oh, there we go. Let's see if we can get this off of here. There we go. Had a little bit of an issue too. You can see that that wasn't, it's kind of crossed up in there. These, a second. Let's get some space here. So this one is tight. This one is fine. this one, let's go ahead and see if we can get that tightened up. So here we have a 10mm. This took off the covers. Appears to be 10mm here as well. Let's see what we can do. I don't know if this will cut it or not. A little bit, not as much as I'd like. Let's see about just getting a nice 10mm here on an extension. To go ahead and snug these up by hand, I really don't have any desire to inadvertently snap the heads off of any of these. That would not be fun, because then we would most definitely have to be replacing these. Feels good. We still have a little bit of play in there, so let's go, but not what it was. Let's go ahead and pull some of this out with an air gun and see what we can do about getting some grease in here. Be okay to grease this, and I'm going to take that shroud off. I'm also going to take a couple other items off, including that piece for deck cleaning, the hose, via hose, and possibly these wheels See if we can't get this shot with a little bit of paint, especially in the areas where you can definitely see it, and you know, make it look a little bit better. Since I think we're going to be okay on the spindle front. We do already have the belt, so I think that we can go ahead and just get this knocked on there. But right over here, I do want to take this pan off. It is, you know, missing a substantial amount of paint. You know, I'd like to do the same thing with this left front wheel right here. Because the wheel is, it's fine, but it's just a generic one from, you know, Tractor Supply or something. It looks kind of weird being that light gray. And, you know, we'll go ahead and try to get it at least looking as good as we can here. I think that'll work out quite nice. As you can see, I went ahead, we got this deck all painted up to, you know, I guess the point where I'm satisfied with it, given, you know, the mower and how much, you know, we're expecting out of this whole project here. But you know, I would have showed the spray painting, but you know, to be honest, I didn't want the camera that close this particular time with a little bit of the breeze that's going on and getting any of this lovely John Deere yellow all over my new camera. So, but I think we all know what spray painting looks like. There was nothing too special that went on here, but we did clean these up and actually painted those with the flat black just because there was some overspray from the prior time that you saw with some yellow on it. But you know, we got some of the loose flake off of here, and then we went ahead and put a generous coat on there. We did the same thing with this shield guard right here, and then we went ahead and put this lovely Amazon belt here. You know, should do good enough to actually get it going. So, no biggie right there. But yeah, I think we're good to go with the deck. Now back over to here. I know I said I was going to take this tin off right here, but to get that off involves a little bit more with this than I'm willing to mess with, again, given this mower. So what I'm going to do is just tape off at the bottom right there and anywhere else I need to. Under the seat's actually not too bad, but I might take the seat off. I've already got it, the wire disconnected, but I'm definitely going to take these out. Each one's held in with two 10mm bolts, it looks like, and then you know, we'll do the same thing here with these cargo mount deals, and that should give us what we need to get a, you know, a decent coat of the green on here, just so that it looks somewhat presentable. And then you know, last but not least, I'm gonna get that aftermarket wheel painted right here. So that shouldn't be too big of a deal. We're gonna go ahead and jack up the front of this thing once we got the deck and everything else back together, and give it a quick shot of yellow paint. And then, you know, we might be able to wrap this one up. I'm not thinking it's going to be too much more involved. It's actually running a lot better than when I first picked it up. And it's not having that stuttering hesitation, so, you know, I think it was just from sitting a little while in the gentleman's backyard for God knows how long. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get these off, and we'll see where it goes from there. I might try to get this one captured for painting purposes. I know everybody wants to see that, right? Right. We can go ahead and get some of these pieces off. Yeah, just 4 Torx for this cargo mount stuff. It's a T30 bit, in case you're wondering.
springs look to be 10 millimeter. I know these are 10 millimeter. So, yep, they are. There we go. It's already a little loose. Okay. Very nice. Nothing's fighting me or broken so far, so we're doing pretty good. There we go. More, that's what we got. Interesting. Okay. It pops right out a little bit. It's kind of a two-piece plate here. It's slightly interesting. So this stud right here has a nut on the other side that keeps this black metal plate attached to the floor tin here. But yeah, that's as much off as we need, with the exception of the seat. Which I believe these look like 13 millimeter, which they are. You know, it's interesting when it comes to some of this engineering and the way some of this stuff is built. because let's say for instance that 318 in there, I can take this off with 4 bolts. Yeah, I had to remember. 4 bolts. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then literally this whole thing, seat included, will lift up and pull off of the tractor so that you can get everything underneath. Right? And you would think in some regard that, okay, something is cheaper, therefore it should be simpler, less complicated. And it's interesting that that's substantially more expensive and nicer tractor, and it's actually simpler and easier to work on, in my opinion. So this is actually just goes to show you that it's not quite engineered as well as far as serviceability is kept in mind, but I mean, you'd also think for the fact of, you know, assembly on the assembly line, keeping costs down, quick, easy, you know, slap together, moving along. That one, right now, seems to be a little bit better than this one in that regard. And again, I've never been to the lovely facility in Greenville that these are built at, but I'm just gonna go with that assumption because it's one of my favorite things to dump on this thing. But we've got off everything that I'm gonna get off on this tin before I paint it. I gotta get that dried out a little bit because we had some water drip out of that seat, and you know, obviously paint doesn't stick to water very well, but you know, we're not looking for a restoration here. That's not really the goal. I actually thought there were going to be a few more mechanical problems with this thing given the fact of how much I spent on it, but I guess I just really lucked out. But at the same time, I do want it to be presentable and not like look like a, you know, beat up high hour piece of crap. So, you know, if a little bit of tactfully used yellow and green paint can make that happen without getting into too much of a teardown, you know, I've got no problem with that. You know, so we're a little bit more concerned about the mechanical stuff. So as far as we're concerned, this deck has a new belt. Spindles have been tightened up and greased, and they should be ready to go. The blades were okay. We did go ahead and adjust that brake. It's actually very easy. There's just a little bolt down there. It's always going to look rusty. And I was afraid at first. I thought, oh man, this thing's going to fight me. Interestingly enough, it just very easily turned. About half a turn to 1 turn was all it took, and we got it to where it stops when you park brake, but rolls when it's off. When your foot's not on the brake clutch there. So that's what we wanted. Definitely what we wanted. Yeah, I'm gonna get this cleaned up a little bit, prepped for paint, and hopefully we'll have a good before and after. I might show a little bit of the painting, so we'll see here in a little bit. A little bit of an after here. So went ahead and, you know, we peeled up, obviously took the seat off, the trim for the transmission and the deck lift and all that other stuff we saw, and I went ahead and just popped these off as well. And then, because they just snap off, they have little pinches from underneath that you compress and pop those things up, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, we got it all bolted back on here and together. Sprayed the seat a little bit right there, but yeah, it's looking good. I mean, this is kind of what I said about, you know, I don't want to go crazy, but as long as it looks presentable and not like a complete piece of crap, then I think it's a win. That's the last bit that needs to be painted. We need to get that looking that color, that to that, that to that, and then we will be happy. What do you think? Because this is looking good, obviously all back together with our nice new
Amazon belt made in China. Yeah, but it was only 15 bucks versus almost 40 that they wanted at Lowe's for a Deere belt that, you know, hopefully most likely was made in USA. Although it was interesting. These pulleys right here, I don't think those were ever replaced. I think they came on the tractor. Made in China. Made in China. I'd love to know how many parts. I know this is built in Greenville, Tennessee. I'd love to know how many parts. Engine, transmission, random pulleys, whatever it is. How many of those parts are made in China? I'd love to know. So yeah, unfortunately, this project has not been as mechanical in nature as I would have liked. It's been a little bit more cosmetic. There's been a couple here's and there's. Obviously, like the belt, and you know, there was the assumption that I was going to need spindles. A lot of times that is the case, but you know, they were just a little bit loose and needed to be tightened down on the deck. So, you know, yay for saving money, disappointing for video making, I guess. But you know, it's just kind of interesting, you know. Yeah, didn't need that much mechanical, but at the same time, it's amazing what people are willing to just not mess with and take the time to bring back to life, I guess, you know what I mean. But this guy had gotten a newer zero turn. I don't think there was any love lost. He just wanted it out of his backyard, and you know, for me it makes a video and you know, a little bit of money by flipping it and selling it. So let's go ahead and get that baby mounted up and we'll see what we can do. Okay, we've gotten the belt on, the deck on. You can see that right there. It's amazing what happens when you actually have a belt on there. So it's a little loud and scrambly because there are these brake shoes on the pulleys that we have, so it will be a little bit on the loud side. Now, I think we need to tune that carburetor up just a little bit. It's probably finally gotten some crap stuck in it because you heard a little bit of that hunting. So I think that's the last thing we're going to get into. May or may not put that on camera because I've already got people interested in purchasing this and they're going a little crazy. So I might just get that cleaned up, bolted on, and ship this bad boy out. Alright, well I think we're going to wrap it up here. She's all back together. Paint is dry. Can't really think of much else other than that wheel that I need to mess with, and I may not mess with it just because I've already got folks interested in picking this thing up. But looks pretty good, runs pretty good, mows pretty good. We got it all tested. We like it. So yeah, definitely came a long way from what it was. But till the next time, hopefully the next project here a little more mechanical, a little less cosmetic. But yeah, any feedback, any thoughts, maybe some suggestions on what the next thing I should try to pick up should be, let me know. Alright guys, till next time.